Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today we have a video all about how to properly recycle your empty makeup products. So I have been saving up, let me just show you. I have been saving up a bunch of empty beauty products in here that are not able to be recycled in my apartment building's dumpster. Our dumpster just takes things like paper, cardboard, plastic bottles, cans, things like that, things that you normally think of as easy to recycle products. But a lot of makeup products and beauty products are not able to be recycled in mainstream dumpsters or curbside recycling programs. I actually did a video about 6 months ago talking about different makeup recycling programs, different brand specific programs, and just different ways that you can recycle your beauty products. So this is kind of a part 2 to that, because after that video, I realized that I had a lot more questions. You guys had some questions as well. So I'm actually getting ready to send off some makeup products to be recycled for the first time. So one thing that you guys were wondering about and that I was also wondering about is how to actually clean out the packaging. Things like this Stila glitter that have like a doe foot applicator. This is basically empty, but there's still a little bit of dried up product down in the bottom. And so this does need to be cleaned out before it is dropped off or sent to a recycling program. And so I have a few different products like that, like a concealer, a lip gloss, a couple of lip glosses, some eyeliner. So I'm gonna actually show you how I did that and kind of go over some easy ways to get these kinds of things cleaned out. Also, the recycling program that I mentioned in my first video was the Garnier and TerraCycle recycling program. So Garnier does have a mail-in program. They accept empty packaging from any brand, not just Garnier. However, I ended up getting waitlisted for that program, and many of you guys said that you did as well. So I think that that list must just be full. I'm sure they're like overwhelmed because that's one of the most popular programs that people know about. So I was looking into some alternatives to that, and there are several store drop-off programs that take packaging from any brand again, and the ones that I know of are L'Occitane, Nordstrom, Credo, Bare Minerals, and Whole Foods. Those are the ones I've heard that have a like box that you can just drop things off. So that's probably the best option if you have any of those stores near you. I personally don't, so I was still on the hunt for a good mail-in program. And the two brands that have them are Ilia and Lila B. There may be others. If you know of others, definitely let us know in the comments, but I'm going to be sending off some products to Ilia. That's the one that I'm going to be using now. The downside is they only accept 5 products per month. I'm sure that's just so that they don't get like overloaded with too many products. So that's what I'm going to be doing. It's very easy to sign up. I will link the page down below where you can sign up. You just put in your email address and they will send you a shipping label. And the partnership that they have is with TerraCycle. TerraCycle is just a big recycling company that has partnerships with lots of different brands. But all they say is clean out your empty beauty products as well as you can, place up to 5 empties from any brand in a box or envelope, and attach the label and drop in the mail. So it is a prepaid shipping label, so it's completely free. All you have to do is get it to a post office. And if you look at the TerraCycle website, they also have quite a few brand specific recycling programs. So a few that I'm kind of saving up empties for are with Paula's Choice, Acure, Eva NYC, that's a hair brand. I actually have quite a few products from them that I've collected. Amika, there's tons of brands, The Ordinary. So those are a few that I'm kind of saving up products from that brand since I already know I use a lot from that brand. But then of course there are some brands I own things from that don't have a recycling program with TerraCycle. So that is where this Ilia program comes in. So I have got quite a few products that I need to send off, but I can only send 5 this month, and so I'll probably just send another batch next month. I think I'm also going to try to sign up for that Lila B program. Haven't done this one yet, but they say that you just email them and they will send you a shipping label. Similar, it sounds like, to the Ilia program. So I'll link both of those below, and I'll also link TerraCycle below so you can look into that. I live in the US. If you live in another country, I know TerraCycle does have some programs with like the EU, Canada, Brazil, and several other countries, so hopefully you can find one where you live as well. So there's a few different types of makeup packaging, most of which can't be put into your curbside recycling, unfortunately. Every city's recycling has different things that they accept, and so I really encourage you to go online and look into what your city or county's recycling rules are, what they do and don't accept. As far as I know, I think it is generally advisable that if you're not sure if something goes into your city's recycling, don't put it in. I think the rule is like, when in doubt, throw it out, because if I were to put in a mascara tube, it makes it a lot harder for them to sort through. It ends up being very costly for them to sort out all the things that don't belong in there. Sometimes it could end up just contaminating the whole group of products that it's surrounded by, and they end up just throwing all of it away. For me, like, I want to be sure that whatever I'm putting in there is actually getting recycled, so that's why I'm like extra cautious with this kind of thing. So let's talk a little bit about how to properly prepare your items to be recycled. So it is really important to make sure that you're sending off products that are clean. You definitely don't want to send off like a half full bottle of foundation, or even, you know, a tube of lip gloss that still has some kind of stuck on the inside. You want to try to clean those out as best as you can. So this was my first time doing this, but I did find some little tips and tricks to get these things clean. So a couple things that I recommend having to make it a little bit easier are just some like dish soap or even hand soap, any kind of liquid soap. And then some sort of pipe cleaner or little cleaner like this. This is actually the one that came with a set of like reusable straws. I ended up using this to help me kind of clean out little tube-shaped products. And then another thing that can be really helpful is just any kind of like makeup remover or cleansing oil. I just have this one from Fourth Ray Beauty. If you have something like this, any kind of makeup remover liquid laying around, it can be helpful to have, but don't feel the need to like run out to the store and buy one just for this. It's just, if you have one, it can make the process a little bit easier. So now let's go over a few different types of packaging. The first type is the squeeze tube. I'm pretty sure most mainstream like city recycling programs don't take squeeze tubes, unfortunately. Again, check with your local place. A lot of plastic, if you look, you'll find a little recycling symbol with a number in the middle. This one is number 4 plastic. I don't think my town takes number 4 squeeze tubes like this, but a lot of squeeze tubes don't even bother to have a number, so I actually really appreciate that they have that on there. And then the lid is, oh, the lid also has a number. The lid is number 5. So just to be safe, because I want to know for sure that this is getting recycled, I am going to send this off to the ILIA program. And I always cut open my tubes like this because there's usually a lot of extra product left in there, and I want to get all my money's worth out of things. But there was still a little bit of like residue in there, so what I ended up doing, this was really easy to clean out. I just took a little bit of dish soap and my little like pipe cleaner scrub brush and just scrubbed it out, made sure to get into the little opening there, the lid, and that was like the easiest one to get clean. But with these kinds of things, I do recommend cutting them open, or at least cutting a little opening in there so that you can get in there and clean it out. Otherwise, you will have a hard time getting that clean. Another one that I think a lot of people might not realize is not recyclable is anything with a pump or spray bottle. So this Pixie Glow Mist is in a plastic bottle, and this actually doesn't have a number on it, so I'm not sure what kind of plastic this is. I think it's kind of odd that they don't have a symbol on there. I'm guessing it's probably number 1 or number 2, but it's hard to say. This has a little spray pump nozzle, and this kind of thing, because it is made of probably a few different kinds of plastic, and there's like a metal spring in there, generally, I don't think you're supposed to throw those kinds of things into your recycling. Same with like soap pumps or any kind of pump or spray nozzle. So this is another thing that I will be sending off to TerraCycle. If the bottle said for sure what kind of plastic it was, I'd probably throw that into my regular recycling dumpster, but I don't see anything like that. So this is another thing I'm going to send off. This is another type of thing that you could also reuse. You could put like cleaning product in here, or you could use this to like spray your brushes with water. There's all kinds of ways you can repurpose something like this, but if you don't have anything to repurpose it for, then you don't want to just have it lying around. So this is also pretty easy to clean out. I would just rinse this with some water, and that would be ready to go. All right, so now to get into some of the more tricky products to get clean is any kind of like tube-shaped product with an applicator, whether it's a doe foot applicator, a brush tip, a wand. These are a little bit harder. So this mascara, I have a few mascaras that I need to dispose of, but mascara wands can actually be sent to Wands for Wildlife. They use them to rehabilitate small animals. However, they are currently not accepting new donations, so I've just got like a pile of these that I need to eventually send off. It sounds like they just got overloaded, and then with COVID, they're kind of taking a break from accepting new wands. But in the future, I'm sure they'll open back up, and that is where I will be sending those. But that does leave the rest of the tube still needing to be recycled. So for this one, I was not able to remove the stopper. It's a lot easier to get these things clean if you can take the stopper off, and I will show how I do that with some of these other things. But with this, first I took some dish soap and used my little scrub brush, scrubbed it out. It was actually incredible how much like leftover black mascara was in there, just like running out. This took a really long time to get clean. Also, to help just loosen it up, I did use some of that cleansing oil, and that does kind of help break it down a little bit faster. But now I can pretty much see that there is no mascara left. So that is clean, and I will send this part off to the TerraCycle program, and I'll save my wand for Once for Wildlife. Another couple of tricky ones. I had two eyeliners from e.l.f. These, you might actually remember, I decluttered these a couple of months ago, and they've just been sitting in my bag of to be recycled items. These were not actually completely empty, but they were getting kind of dried out. So I was really curious to see how difficult this would be to clean. But what I ended up doing was I removed the stopper, and to remove the stopper you just need usually just a pair of scissors. It can take some time to get that off, but that black portion there is the stopper. But if you can get your tweezers in between this like black lip and the rest of the packaging, you can kind of jimmy it off, but it takes some work. Some stoppers are easier to remove than others. If you have like a pair of needle-nosed pliers, if you have a pair of needle-nosed pliers, that could also be useful. But I just use tweezers, and that usually works for me. So I was able to get the stopper off of those, and then I ended up just putting a little bit of the makeup remover and water in there, and then just shaking it up to kind of loosen up what was in there, and then I was able to just kind of shake it out. Did that a couple times, brought my scrub brush in to really clean out the sides, and now it is completely clear. It's actually really satisfying to see that completely empty container. And then with the brush part, I was easily able to get this clean with just some soap and water. And honestly, if you have a use for a little eyeliner brush like this, you could totally keep this and just reuse it as a brush in your collection. I actually might save this and use it for that. Kind of satisfying to see those completely clean. These were like sparkly eyeliners. As it was running down the drain, I was realizing this would be fun to use for like an art project or something. I'm not a very crafty person, but if you are, or if you have like crafty kids in your life, it would be fun to, you know, use that for, you know, art projects or whatever. Just a thought. I also had an empty concealer. This one, there wasn't really any product left, but there was a little bit of just kind of like concealer residue around the sides and on the applicator, so this was really easy. I had already removed the stopper a long time ago. With this, I just took a little bit of soap, scrubbed it out with my brush, and cleaned the applicator with some soap and water, and that was that. So anyway, once I was done cleaning all these things out, I did just make sure to lay them out on a towel to dry overnight. You want to make sure that anything you're sending off is as clean as you can get it and dry. You don't want to be sending like wet products. And I actually am realizing there is a little bit of water still left in this eyeliner, so I'm probably just going to leave this like upside down to dry. I may even take the stopper out again just to, because I don't want that to get like gross and mildewy in there. Another few things that I'll save for the future, because I obviously can't send all of these at once, but I have a few of these jars of the e.l.f. Holy Hydration face cream. This is unfortunately not recyclable. It's a very like thick plastic, and there's no number on it. I really don't like this packaging because it's so bulky and it just feels kind of like a waste, but I love the product, so I am looking for an alternative to this. But in the meantime, these I will send off to TerraCycle. And then a couple of other things. These are like powder containers. This one used to have like a loose eye setting powder. I actually think I'm going to save this to reuse because this is the perfect size for traveling, or when I am panning things, sometimes I need like little containers to depot things into, so I think I'm going to save this one because this is a good little reusable container. Same with this e.l.f. Happy Hydration Cream. This is like a mini size. This actually has some contour in it right now, my Jordana contour stick. Spoiler, I got it completely like leveled out, and so I ended up digging out what was left at the bottom of the stick and putting it in here. So I would recommend, before you discard things like this, keep anything like this that could be reused for travel, or, you know, like depotting, decanting things, because I actually find these kinds of little jars very useful. But obviously you don't need like 20 of these lying around, so save what you need, but don't like hoard things. like I do sometimes. And then this e.l.f. HD powder, this is I haven't actually cleaned this yet, but this is gonna be really easy to clean with just like a damp cloth. And this does have a sifter, so I will probably remove the sifter just so that I can get everything wiped off, then pop that back on, and this can be sent off to be recycled. Although this is another thing that would be good to hold on to. Sometimes it's nice to have something to decant like loose powders into, so I may actually keep that as well. But I would say with any kind of stick product, whether it's like a stick cheek product or a lipstick, or maybe like a stick concealer, a lot of times you think you're done with it, but there's actually a lot left in the bottom, so I would recommend scraping that out with either like the end of your tweezers, or what I like to use is this little nail tool. It's like a cuticle pusher. This is the perfect little thing to dig stuff out of. You could dig that out and then again just clean it as well as you can with a brush like this, or cloth, wet cloth, whatever. So that is what I will be doing with my empty makeup products. I'm glad I can finally start getting these out of my hoard of empties. I'm really happy to know that these things aren't going to end up in a landfill. I do want to say though, recycling is great. It's a great thing to do if, you know, you have empty products that would otherwise end up in the trash. If you're able to have them recycled, that's awesome. It's always better to recycle than to, you know, throw away if you can. But I think it's important also to say that recycling isn't necessarily gonna solve all of our problems. It's a great thing to do if you're able, but the best thing you can do is just to use what you have, buy less, consume less, find ways to reduce and reuse before you recycle, because remember the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. Recycle is the third one, so it's even better to reduce your consumption overall, reuse what you can, and then recycle as almost like a last resort. So I do want to point that out. If you live in a place where maybe you don't have access to a recycling program like this, or it's difficult for you to get to the post office or things like that, don't feel guilty. I mean, recycling is not like the end all be all, like it's not the most important thing in the world, but it is a good thing to do if you are able to. So I hope this was helpful for me to kind of share how I have been learning about this. It's something that I knew very little about in the past, and once you kind of get to researching it, you can kind of go down a rabbit hole. There's a lot of information out there. There's tons of different programs, different brands that offer these kinds of things. I'm sure there are programs that I missed as well, so if you know of any other either mail-in programs, drop-off programs, or even programs that offer like refillable packaging or zero waste packaging, that would be great to know as well. So definitely share in the comments. I'm guessing that the comments under this video are going to be really helpful, so if you're still wanting to learn even more about this, check the comments. I will link below as many recycling resources and programs as I can find down below. But otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and hopefully I will talk to you very soon in my next video. Bye.